Okay, thanks, Rachel. Happy to be back today. Good to see everybody. Looking forward to another week of Big Ten volleyball with two top 10 teams on the docket. Nebraska here on Wednesday, and then we go to Minnesota on Saturday. I didn't think that we had a particularly good weekend, but I also feel like you have to give credit to the people you play in this league when things get tough. And I thought Indiana played really well against us on Friday night. They're a much improved team that's playing with, I think, a lot of toughness. And they had us right where they wanted us for a while. And then I think offensively we kind of woke up and got some things done down the stretch. And then Maryland came in with, maybe the best blocking team in the country. And it took its toll on our offense. And we just really couldn't get much going against them. And when we did, we'd find ourselves in a rotation where we couldn't get out of it. And so we got some work to do this week to get ready for two of the better teams in the country. But that's what the Big Ten is about. That's why our players come here. I guess that's why we came to coach here. But we have a lot of work to do this week, but still looking forward to it. And there's just a lot of teams in our same category right now that are just trying to keep their head above water in this league so they can get a chance to make the NCAA tournament and see what can happen there. Because any Big Ten team that makes the NCAA tournament has a good chance to go deep into the tournament. We just have to make sure we win enough to get there. And at the same time, you have to manage the expectations. You don't want to put too much pressure on your team. But again, it's a Big Ten. There's going to be pressure. So I'm done talking for right now. Sam?
Dave, looking back, last night was a fourth straight match sub 200, and I know that's not all hitting. As this is a matter of, the defense has to be better, the blocking has to be better to help the back row players, the serving. Is it kind of, I guess, a contribution across the board that's leading to, struggling offensively?
Yeah, but it's funny when you look at the Big Ten hitting percentages in our league this year. They're way down compared to the last couple of seasons. And I don't know if that is because of we don't have great offensive players, or we have really good defenses, or people just understand what other teams are doing against them, or the serving is tougher. Still trying to get a handle on that. But you're 100% correct from the standpoint we have to improve our offense. We have to find ways to score points. And I would think that this might be an opportunity after struggling this weekend to look at maybe making some adjustments in some things, whether it's how we start our rotation, what our setters are doing. I didn't think we had a great weekend from our setting standpoint, which was unusual because their development has been tremendous. And in practice, they've been really, really good. But sometimes you get into a game environment and you start to feel a little bit of pressure. I know that was the case at Indiana, the rivalry match. Neither one of those two setters had ever set a ball against Indiana in that environment before, and that kind of had something to do with it. But I think this week we'll spend some time, a lot more time on offense than maybe what we have in the past couple of weeks to try to get some things sorted out.
What is different from a setting perspective where, Meg knew last year Haley's the go-to setter, and if I get in, it's probably going to be late in a match that we have in hand,
yeah,
versus where she's got somebody in the gym every day and they're both competing for those reps.
Yeah, it's more difficult. It's more difficult for everybody if you don't have the same set of hands, taking care of every ball. But you also have to figure out as a coach, how's your team best? And we have two contrasting setters. One's small, one's tall, okay? One's got experience, one doesn't have as much experience. And the substitution aspect of it comes into play too. If you're not using two setters, you've got a lot of flexibility what you can do with the rest of your substitutions. If you're using two setters, almost every set you're going to get down to the end and you're going to have it locked in to go in one way or the other. And it limits what you can do substitution-wise. So I like both of our setters. I think our plan is to continue to develop them and use both of them moving forward. But time will tell.
How obviously Nebraska's a tough opponent, but if you can beat them Wednesday, it almost wipes out that Maryland loss. You beat an opponent that people probably didn't expect you to when you lost to somebody that people think you should have beat. Is that You've talked all year about how that's the Big Ten, going back to Minnesota and what worked well when you played them. Is it kind of maybe looking back at some of those things you've had success with against the better teams on your schedule?
Well, I think, number one, you're just taking every match one at a time. That's how we've always done things here. So our focus is now moved from Maryland to Nebraska, trying to get ready for a team that actually has as many offensive weapons as anybody in the league. So defensively, we're going to have to be, particularly good. It's nice. And again, I look at the Maryland match, Sam, and I understand what you're saying. Most people thought we would win that match at home. And when you go back in the history, the 20 years we've been here, very seldom do we lose a match that people are surprised that we lose. I mean, we've been pretty steady in beating teams that we're supposed to beat. This was a case where we didn't, but I think as you watch this season develop, in my opinion, you're going to see Maryland win a lot of games. They're going to win a lot of matches. They're a good team. And I was just talking with another coach in the Big Ten. He'd called and asked about something that had happened in the league this week. And I think there's 3 teams right now that are kind of pushing themselves above the rest. And then there's about another 9, maybe even 10, that are all in the same category. And it's just who's going to continue to improve, who's going to fight, who's going to compete. And we've had great competitiveness on our team this year. We fought really, really hard. And, the Maryland match was just kind of, I thought, a rare exception. Indiana, we fought like crazy to get back in the match and win. And we've done, every time we've gone 5 sets, we've won. So that's a real positive thing. But I think that, it'd be nice to steal one from a team that people don't think you're probably going to win. But we just got to win enough to get in the NCAA tournament. That's kind of what my objective is at this point in time. Win enough matches that you can get in the NCAA tournament. And our history indicates if we get in the NCAA tournament, we're going to be very, very dangerous, and I think that would be the case again this year. Thanks, Sam.
Coach, going back to this weekend, we saw some of the better play out of the middles there with Colvin and Clayton. You've talked about needing, strong competitors, tough competitors all year. Is that where it's at on the team right now with them?
Well, I think we did get good performance from our middles. Hannah Clayton, who I felt like has been playing well in practice. We just hadn't seen it on the floor the last couple of weeks, but in practice she works as hard as anybody we have in the gym. But middles are they rely on good passing. If we don't pass the ball well and we can't get the ball to the setter, they don't get a lot of opportunities. Clearly, I thought we outpassed Maryland at a 2.4 to about a 1.9. Usually if you outpass somebody to that level, you're going to win the match. But the problem is that their team are their outside hitters. So if they don't pass the ball, they can still get the ball to their outside hitters. And they did quite a bit. And when they were in system, they went to the middles and they had success. So there are a lot of reasons for that. But I think our middles are making solid progress. I think Raven still has a lot of untapped potential offensively. We've been working really hard with her going behind the setter. She has not been as good back there as she is in front. People are loading up, putting 2 blockers on her when she's in front of the setter. She's a marked player on our team, as is Eva. And so other players need to step up, continue to develop so we can get them the ball and spread the offense out and make the defense play all of our people a little more honestly.
Gotcha. Kind of sets up my next question. You're talking about being more comfortable with the 5-1 offense out there. Do you think with having those marked players that the setters have been spreading out the offense and using all of the attacking options efficiently, or has that been an issue?
No, I think our setters have done a really nice job of making decisions to go to the hitter at the right time based on what the situation might be. What I mentioned earlier was I just think set location was a little shaky this past week, and it surprised me because it's been so good in practice. So we'll just continue to keep working on that. But no, I've got no problem with that, and I don't care if we run a 5-1 or a 5-2. It really shouldn't matter. All of our players need to adjust to it and get the most out of whatever system we're going to play.
Gotcha. Looking at Nebraska, I think I noted that their defense kind of stood out with, I think they had last year's Defensive Player of the Year, and they seem to handle the ball well against conference teams so far.
Yeah, they were the best defensive team probably in the country last year. They had 3 incredible backcourt players and a lot of experience to go along with that. They lost one of those players who transferred, I believe, to Texas. But they're a good defensive team. They're running a 6-2 system right now with the setters always in the back row. So they've got 3, hitters anywhere from 6'2" to 6'5" in the front row coming at you all the time. And so they'll be hard to handle, which is why they're ranked 3rd in the country and playing pretty well right now.
Dave, we had Russ Rose step down last year, Hugh McCutcheon this year. As a 20-year guy in this sport at an elite level, how difficult is it to both build and maintain an elite program and deal with the pressures that come with that?
Well, I think it's really hard to do all those things in this league. But that's why I'm here, though. I mean, it's the best volleyball league for women in the world at the college level. And so you know that when you get here. Is it easy? No. Is it stressful? Yeah. But that stress is all you put on yourself. We may have talked about this before, but I'm not feeling pressure from Mike Babinski. I'm not even feeling pressure from our fans. Okay? They understand that our players are giving it everything they got and our staff's giving it everything that we have. But, yeah, it's tough. Nobody likes to lose. I mean, it's a recovery time after you get beat, like a match like yesterday, when you think it's one you should win, and you get beat. And then the better you get, it's like Minnesota or Penn State. Those teams, every time they stepped on the floor, everybody thought they were going to win. And so all you can do is disappoint people when you get beat. And I feel like we disappoint people when we get beat, and that's the hardest thing to take because I promote our team. I'm out there trying to get people to come support this team. And then you always are disappointed when you lose a match because you feel like you've let people down. And our players feel the exact same way. But you get over it. You have to, as I say, turn the corner and move on because Wednesday we got the 3rd best team in the country and the best team right now in the Big Ten coming into play. So we've got to get ready for them. But you have to manage. I talked about managing expectations. As a coach, you have to manage those expectations with yourself and certainly with your athletes, because I think they feel pressure. We beat Minnesota 4 weeks ago, and we made a big jump in the poll when that happened. Whether that was deserving or not, I don't know. I think we're somewhere between 12 and 25 is where I would put us. Okay. I never felt like we were the 5th best team in the country. All right, we just got too many new pieces on this team to be the best team in the country. Or the 5th best team in the country. So I think we're probably going to land in a better place this week when the poll comes out. I really don't care where it is. And our team just has to probably adapt a mentality that we're going to win those that we can win, and whatever that is, that's great. Continue to compete and play hard. But no, I think that there's nothing easy about coaching in this league, but it can be very, very satisfying. And being around great young people like we are in our gym every day and having the support that we have from our fans and our university makes us a great job.
Last thing is, when you get to this point in the season, about halfway through the Big Ten,
Right.
Do you have to alter at all cutting back on practice reps for some players and trying to keep players who aren't playing more, getting them more reps, or how do you manage practice as the season goes along?
Yeah, absolutely. And our weeks are different. This week it's a Wednesday, Saturday. Last week was Friday, Sunday. We'll probably get one Friday, Saturday in here at some point in time. So you try to get ahead of that and understand, how hard do we want to go each day, and how many jumps is Eva Hudson getting, and how many jumps is Raven Colvin getting, and how many jumps is Maddie Cook, everybody. But then you've got these people that aren't playing nearly as much that are the future of your program that you have to get in for extra reps, okay? But, we we monitor what we're doing a lot, and we're going to err on being fresh and not being overworked for sure. But at the same time, there's a lot of work to do. You know, when you play a match, have a weekend like we had, we recognize there's lots of things we need to do, but we have to be cautious that we don't overdo it. Because we're not going to change somebody or change our entire team in 2 days. What we have to do is just be mentally fresh and mentally engaged to go play and be our very best. But that's a really good question, and something that every coach in this sport, and probably every sport, is thinking about right now as we start to move into the back half of the season. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.